toot, pud, Joyce. This is the rest of your happy birthday. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to record this part because I got thrown back. A couple of little things was going on. But toot, this is the second part of your sermon, but it is a comedy thing. So, I hope you enjoy it. And it's all about you. 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 Toot, pud, toot, Joyce, Wilma. Okay, here we go. Welcome to Brynn Sacred Bible Porch. I have a segment where I do happy birthday sermons and whatever else that comes with it for each of my siblings. And this is the rest of Wilma's birthday buffet fiasco. Part 1, the birthday buffet fiasco. Toot, we know your birthday has passed November the 3rd, but we're going to act like it's today. Happy 62nd birthday to Wilma, our beloved Toot. Sometimes Pud, P-U-D-D, Pud. That was Uncle Bill's wife, Pud. Yeah, but she looks like Pud. But always Queen Wilma of the Dillard Manor. Today's sermon, but it's a sermon comedy, especially for Wilma. But hopefully everyone listening will enjoy and be uplifted. This is a day of laughter, healing, devotion, and joy. It's a day to celebrate not just her years, but her testimony. And let me tell you, this isn't just a birthday. This is a national holiday in buffet circles. Somewhere right now, a manager is putting up a sign. And the sign says, "Closed for private event. Queen Wilma spotted in town." The shrimp trays are trembling. I'm scared. The cobbler is hiding under the whipped cream. Even the yeast rolls are whispering to each other, "Brace yourself. Wilma's coming." Poor yeast rolls. They know they're going to be devoured by Wilma. Family, once again, welcome to this porch. And I'm Brynn. Wilma's the third of the children of the clan of our family. She's the third. Clarinet player. She was a clarinet player for 6 years. Once again, which worked that side of the brain to help her to become a nurse. A Christian woman. A nurse manager in the cancer unit. And a survivor of major surgery just a month or so ago. She had healed enough to return to work, where she continues to care for others with compassion and strength. Her husband, James, has been her steady helper, lifting her up, walking beside her, and warning the world when Wilma approaches a buffet, because let's be honest, Wilma, get close and listen. Wilma's dangerous to a buffet. She has always said she wished she had 2 stomachs like a camel. I'm going to keep saying that till you turn blue in the face. But camels actually have 3 stomachs. With 1 stomach, she's a tornado family. With 2, she would be a typhoon. And with 3, child, she would be a tsunami. And what does a tsunami do? Think about it. Visualize it. It pulls the water way out, then crashes back in, decimating the land. Visualize Wilma taking a deep breath. That's her pulling the water back. And when she storms the buffet, utensils flies, Forks, spoons, knives, plates, saucers, everything's flying. Everybody at the buffet, they start trembling. Their calves are shaking. They're trembling. And James warns the crowd. Step back! Step back! Step back, everybody! Save your life! My wife is a tsunami! My wife is a tsunami! When she sees food, she sees nothing. She don't see humans. She only sees the food. That's James. Wilma's appetite, it's not an appetite, it's a prophecy. When Queen Wilma approaches a buffet, the food knows its destiny. Now picture this, family. The restaurant doors swing open. The staff, they're at a buffet. The staff freezes. The regular whispers, Lord have mercy, it's her. Some start running in place, like they're jogging in place. They're so revved up and they're scared all at once. They know that the calamity of Wilma's coming. She's going to decimate that buffet. Like they're warming up for a track meet, because they know once Wilma locks eyes on that buffet, it's tunnel vision. It's tunnel vision. It's tunnel vision. She sees nothing. She's like a horse with those big flappers on the side, covering the side of their eyes where they won't get distracted. That's Wilma. She doesn't see tables, chairs, or people, only trays of food glowing like heaven's light. Her eyes darting back and forth, back and forth, back and forth between the macaroni and cheese and James fumbling at the cashier. He knows his wife is charging up. She's charging up like a cartoon on TV. How those little animals start charging up like they're ready to take off like a rocket. That's Wilma. She's ramping up. She's charging up because she knows she sees food. She's pacing, breathing heavy, waiting for that one sacred moment. The receipt hitting James' hand. She knows once that receipt hits James' hand, that's the starter pistol. That's go time. James knew the signs. He had seen them before. He knew that Wilma was getting ready to blow, erupt like a volcano. Because when her left eye starts twitching, that was the danger signal. That twitching meant her hunger had grown critical. But still, somehow, she was steady enough to make it to the steam table of food. But before we get to that, even in the parking lot, as they drove into the restaurant parking lot, and Toot saw the sign, and she saw the word buffet, she started trembling in the car. James had to keep her calm. He went around and he opened the door and she fell on the ground. He made her get up and she was flopping around like a fish, like she was out of water. She knew she's getting ready to devour that buffet. But he had to get her back in line. And guess how he did that? James had a taser in his pocket. James tasered Wilma back in submission. Because once she got out of pocket, when she saw food, it's like she couldn't see nothing else. She was deranged. All she's had was food on the brain. Food on the brain. She had food on the brain. She had food. She had food on the brain. She had food on the brain. Food on the brain. Food, 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 food. And what James couldn't seem to understand is she had just eaten breakfast. A huge breakfast. She had eaten 12 scrambled eggs, a pack of bacon, a can of biscuits. She had some syrup with butter in it, and she had at least 6 pancakes. And she acted like she hadn't eaten in years. And now here they are at lunch, and she's falling out of the car, flopping on the ground. But family, this is only the beginning. That twitch meant her hunger. That twitch in her eye that James saw, it meant that her hunger had grown critical. But still, somehow, she was ready enough and steady enough to make it to the steam table of food. And then came the aroma. The smell of steak, fish, shrimp, fried chicken, green beans, stewed potatoes, baked potatoes with all the toppings, corn on the cob, macaroni and cheese, peach cobbler, cheesecake, red velvet cake, caramel cake chocolate, pecan pie, sweet potato pie, ice cream in a cone, and the aroma of those oh so delicious fresh yeast rolls filled the air while in the parking lot. And it hit Wilma like a drum beat. She usually does not remember walking in, but more like floating in like a cartoon character. She floated like a cartoon character. Her feet were off the ground. The aroma of food made her ears start dancing like an elephant flapping its ears. It wasn't just hunger, it was destiny. By then, the restaurant goers were in chaos. One man dove under a table, clutching his savory pork chops. A woman shielded her dessert plate like it was her firstborn child. The staff yelled, "Clear the lanes! Clear the lanes! Clear the lanes! Everyone sit down! Sit down, please! Queen Wilma has arrived! Sit down for your own health! After she gets her plate, we'll tell you when it's your time to attack the buffet. But until now, if you don't sit down, you will be attacked by Wilma's chaos, her fiasco. You may be hit with plates, saucers, coffee cups, forks, spoon, knives, because once she attacks a buffet table, she sees no one but food. So sit down. Clear the lanes, clear the lanes, clear the lanes. The staff knew, because they knew once Toot charged up, it was every fork for itself. James tried to keep her calm, whispering, "Wait, baby, wait." But her eyes were locked on the steam rising from the buffet. The moment that receipt touched his hand, Wilma transformed. She was no longer a nurse manager. She was no longer a clarinet player. She was a buffet warrior. But she saw the lobsters. Family, and even before the cooks put the lobster in the hot boiling water, the lobster knew. They let all the other lobsters know. Queen Wilma of Dillard Manor is out by the buffet table. Queen Wilma of the Dillard Manor is out by the buffet table. The lobsters started getting riled up, clattering their claws against the steel pans, asking for their demise quickly before they could before Wilma could come and pick them. They didn't want to see Wilma's eyes. See, because when Toot goes back there to pick her lobsters, not lobster, she picks at least 5 or 6 of them. And the poor lobsters are terrified of her. They don't want to see her beady Wilma Dillard eyes. They don't want to see her eyes. They don't want to see her lips twitching and her eyes twitching and her hands and her fingernails tapping against the piece of glass because they know they're going to be devoured. That's the reason the lobsters got riled up. clattering their claws against the steel pans, asking for their demise. Quickly! Quickly kill me! Quickly! Quickly! Quickly kill me! Before she could come and peg me. I don't want to see her eyes. Just kill me. Kill me before she comes this way. Please. Please. They said they would rather not see the white of her eyes. Wilma, you have terrified those lobsters because they know when you concentrate on one of them, you're going to eat them, and they can see themselves being eaten while you're looking at them. They'd rather just go to be chunked in the hot water before you even get back there. The lobster tank became a prayer meeting. One lobster shouted, "Cover us, Lord." One lobster shouted, "Cover us, Lord." Another whispered, "Better to steam now than to meet her fork later." Another whispered, "Better to steam now than to meet her fork later." The chef shook his head, muttering, "They know. They always know when she's near." The chef shook his head, muttering, "They know their demise. They always know when she is near." Family, the buffet was no longer a restaurant. It had transformed into a royal court. The manager, sweating through his vest, stepped forward and bowed low, declaring, "All rise for Queen Wilma, Dillard Manor. All rise for Queen Wilma of Dillard Manor." The waiters lined up like guards, holding serving spoons like scepters. The busboy scurried ahead like a herald, straightening tongues and polishing the sneeze guards as if they were stained glass. The carving station chef tightened his apron, muttering, "Hold the line! Hold the line!" They wanted to hold the line. Napkins were laid out like red carpet. The trays of food gleamed under the lights as if they were crown jewels on display. And then Queen Wilma stepped forward, fork raised like a scepter, eyes blazing with hunger and destiny. She was no longer just Wilma, Toot, Pud, Joyce. She was Queen Wilma of Dillard Manor, ruler of buffets, conqueror of trays, sovereign of yeast rolls. Family, you don't want to know what happened next. She finished devouring poor people in the restaurant. We'll talk about it later on. Her next trip was to Macy's store. It's called Macy's Clearance Rack Chaos, where the birthday saga continues into shopping mayhem, ending the birthday story. Okay. The buffet had been conquered. 7 plates stacked high. Desserts subdued. Lobsters were silenced, and the crowd transformed into a congregation of laughter and awe. But James knew, he knew, the real battle was only beginning. Because when Queen Wilma finishes eating, she doesn't just rest. She charges up again. Charging up. Charging up. Charging up like a train. Like a train. That food gave her a second wind. She was charging up again. And at this time, her eyes weren't locked on lobster and fish and fried chicken or red velvet cake. They were locked on Macy's department store. James felt it immediately. That same tidal wave energy building in her chest. He grabbed her hand gently, whispering, "Baby, breathe. Just breathe. Calm down. Calm down. We're going in the store, but calm down." But her feet were already pacing. her eyes narrowing like radar beams, scanning the clearance rack. He knew the signs. He had seen them before. So James did what any wise husband would do. He showed her the taser. Yes, James keeps a taser. That taser keeps Wilma in line. I mean, she's been tased before, and she knows it's not a happy trip. But he'll show her the taser to keep her in line. Not to use it, but as a warning, a reminder of what pain looks like. James says, "Do you want to be on the floor of Macy, shaking and screaming, hollering, cock-a-doodle-doo? That's how Wilma sound, cock-a-doodle-doo." James asked her, because when he tases her, he's had to tase her before. She falls on the ground or the floor or wherever she is, and she's shaking and she's saying, James has never figured out why she says cock-a-doodle-doo. Anyway, that's just her way of letting out pain. I don't know. Wilma paused when James said, "Do you want me to get the taser out?" But only for a second, because one thing about Toot, Pud, Joyce, Queen Wilma, she always gets her way. She likes to have her way. James had a plan. He wanted her to pick out 2 elegant dresses, $150 each. Simple, classy, manageable. Just pick out you 2 really nice dresses and we'll be done. But Wilma is a numbers cruncher. She refused to pay full price. Her eyes darted past the mannequins, past the perfume counter, straight to the clearance rack. She wanted to get the most bang for her buck. And there it was. Destiny in polyester. 13 items for $300. That was complete glory for Joyce, for Pudge, for Toot, for Wilma. Dresses, blouses, scarves, pants, even a jacket or 2. She stacked them like she stacked plates at the buffet. With precision, geometry, artistry. James knew better than to argue. He let her do what she wanted. When the cashier rang up the mountain of bargains, Wilma was happier than her nieces, Angela and Amanda, when they came home to visit Mama and Papa, and they ran around that house screaming at the top of their little lungs. They were about 4, 5, 6, 7, something like that. And they ran around the Mama and Daddy's house, seemed like the whole time they were there, screaming at the top of their lungs. They were just running around the house screaming and hollering, just running. I don't know what they were doing. Wilma was happier than Amanda and Angela when they were little, running around Mama and Papa's house, screaming at the top of their lungs. She was elated. She was radiant. She was unstoppable. But James knew the hardest part wasn't the shopping. It was getting her out of that store. She had the itis. She was full. She had shopped. She had gotten bargains, but she wanted more. James knew that sign. The itis of shopping had set in. That dazed, glazed look. Satisfied glow of a bargain hunter who had conquered the clearance rack. She didn't want to leave. She wanted to bask in her victory. Her victory. She wanted to bask in her victory of what she had found. So James, steady as ever, pulled out the taser again. Just a quick flash. Just a reminder. "Baby," he said to Joyce, "do you want to be on the floor of Macy's, hollering like a rooster? Cock-a-doodle-doo! 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 Do you? Well, that's what happens." Joyce thought about it. Then she sighed and said, "Let's go." She felt a little defeated because she really wanted to go back in and start again. And with that, Queen Wilma of Dillard Manor left Macy's. Cart of bargains in tow, James pushing like a royal carriage once more. The bottom line is, Wilma likes to have her way. Whether it's buffets or bargain racks, she conquers, she stacks, she reigns. Her birthday ended not with a cake, but with clearance. Not with candles, but with coupons. And James, her husband, faithful as ever, knew this was only one chapter in a much bigger saga. Until next time, family, stay woke.